What is going on, my beautiful LARPers and LARPettes? Today we're going to go over the new kid on the block, Richmond Tactical. Now, I met Richmond Tactical, well, the guys at Richmond Tactical, at SHOT Show at the beginning of this year, and they're very down-to-earth people. I love the way they kind of are just nonchalant about their products in terms of how they're describing it, the names and all that stuff. It just seems when a company doesn't really take themselves too seriously but also makes serious products. I think that's a really cool trait to have in an industry where it's very serious sometimes. So, full disclosure, guys, before I get into any of those details, what is my relationship with Richmond? Like I said, I did meet them at SHOT Show. They did reach out to me before that and see if I wanted to do a review on one of their rifles or pistols. And I thought, sure, why not make a video on something cool and a company that's up and coming and help them out to get their name out there. But like always, gotta let you know, they did send these out to me for review. This one here specifically, unfortunately, I am not keeping. I gotta send this guy back. And this one here is mine. And before you guys ask, this is a pistol compliant sock that you see here. So, no funny business going on here. But yeah, guys, just gotta let you know my relationship with this company is pretty fresh, but I'm hoping to get you guys some good info on some cool looking guns here right in front of me. So right off the bat, guys, you do have two different calibers right here in front of you. This one that I'm holding in my hand is a 9mm, and this one here, the smaller guy, is a 300 Blackout. But we're gonna go ahead and basically go over all the details that you're gonna see if you're gonna pick one of these up. And it's basically identical between the two, other than the round that it shoots. So let's start at the front muzzle end here on the 9mm. You have a blast diverter that is made by Richmond Tactical, and you can actually unscrew that and take that off, and it unveils their little 2-port muzzle brake right at the end there. And this is also threaded for their suppressors. Their suppressors they do make in-house as well, and you can directly thread onto this muzzle brake here. And this blast diverter has a really cool design to it too. As you can see in the front here, it does have all these little holes that go around the main hole that the bullet comes out of, and it's basically just a one-chamber blast diverter. There's nothing special going on inside. It's just something to capture all that gas and blow it out in front of you, so it's not too much of a annoyance when you're shooting it next to your friends and stuff like that. And if you're looking at this 300 Blackout, you do have a blast diverter as well, but this blast diverter is directly threaded onto the barrel itself, 1/2x28 threads, and this one does not work with their 2-port compensator. I actually prefer that 2-port with the blast diverter combo, because here I really just would take this off and suppress this one anyways. Now before I move on, this is a Unity tactical mount and light, and a primary arms optic as well as the primary arms optic on here. Those do not come with the gun, so I'm just going to throw that out there, even though these look pretty cool already. Those don't come with the gun. It just comes. It just comes.
I'm gonna come.
Alright, so one of the main differences that you're going to see on these two here are the barrels. This is a 16-inch 9mm barrel. This barrel is manufactured by Ballistic Advantage. And on the 300 Blackout, I believe is a Faxon Firearms barrel. This is a 7.5-inch barrel. I know when I spoke with them at SHOT Show, they were kind of just saying that they're getting Faxons in to put into these guys, but I'm not sure if there was a supply issue or something like that. They told me it was kind of hard to get in the barrels. But as of now, to my knowledge, they're using Faxon barrels. Now moving on to the rail, you're going to see a tiny difference between these two here. Now this is their 16-inch aluminum rail that if you're looking at the very end of it, it mates really well with that upper receiver there. And I'll talk about the upper receiver in a second. But if you're looking at the 300 Blackout version, at the front of it, since the rail is so small, they actually put a little hand stop at the front of it that's integrated into the rail itself, which I think is really cool that they added that onto the rail there. I don't really see that a lot when it comes to rails or aftermarket rails that you're putting on guns. You usually have to add a little hand stop piece yourself there. Now before I move back on the receiver, I just want to mention that on the 300 Blackout you do have a superlative arms gas block, adjustable gas block on this little guy. So it's really cool that they're adding an adjustable gas block, because when you do suppress it, you can adjust that gas for whatever round you're going to be shooting out of that. And on the 9mm here, you do not have a gas block because this is direct blowback. Now the upper and lower receiver are billet aluminum, and if you're looking at the way they designed it, right here at the end of the rail, it blends in really nice with the upper receiver. And if you're looking at the top, it almost looks like it'd be a monolithic upper if it didn't have those lines in it. But the downside to it looking so cool and clean is if you wanted to put a different rail on here, it won't look as nice as this one, just because it is cut out specifically for their rail here. So my suggestion is, if you're going to probably put one of these together, if you're going to buy their receiver set, I'd go ahead and buy all 3 pieces, because it will not look good with another brand rail on this Richmond Tactical receiver set. And I'm really feeling the design of it. It's not too rounded, but it's not too square where it's going to kind of like look like it has super sharp edges, but it does look really clean. Now another thing you're going to notice on the 300 Blackout compared to the 9mm is the 9mm does not have a forward assist. On the 300 Blackout you do have a forward assist, and the forward assist is thinner than a normal mil-spec forward assist. And I never really paid attention to a forward assist and the design of it, just because I really don't mess with the forward assist too often. But I'm really liking how thin this one is compared to a normal mil-spec one. Now they both do come with radiant charging handles, which I think are some of the best charging handles out there. And for the bolt carriers, you're getting a very nice fail zero bolt carrier on the 9mm and a fail zero bolt carrier on the 300 Blackout. And they do come with these quick detach FTE Magpul dust covers here. And on the topic of FTE, I'm really liking the way these are looking. Like, they kind of have that 50 Shades look going on right now, where not everything is matching exactly, but you do have a little difference in terms of how the colors look. So you have a lighter receiver color compared to the rail, which is a little bit darker, and then the grip and the stock on this one are darker than those. So I'm really liking that color, actually. Now moving on down to the lower receiver, guys, you're gonna have to forgive me, but I do not know the names to the ambidextrous safety selector and the mag release on both of these. I do know that Richmond Tactical does not make those, but I don't know if they mentioned that they were made from Lantac, because I know they have some Lantac bolt releases on here, but I do not know if Lantac makes this mag release and safety selector. So if you recognize these safety selectors, definitely let me know. I'll have to reach out to Richmond again and actually get the name to those safety selectors. But they are ambidextrous, like I said. Now inside of these receivers, you do have a CMC flat face trigger, and anybody that's shot CMC triggers before know that they're very nice triggers. And I believe these two are coming in right at around 3.5 pounds. Now moving on to the lower receiver, you're going to see a slight difference between the two. That's just because they're different calibers. On the bottom of the 9mm version, obviously you're going to have a smaller mag well. And to mention, this 9mm does take Colt magazines. And when I asked Ramon at SHOT Show why they went with Colt mags, this is what he had to say.
Why'd you guys go with a Colt mag over something like a Glock?
Because most people don't.
Yeah, so that's why.
Pretty much it.
Basically.
So yeah, I think that's a pretty cool reason, right? So magwell is flared out pretty wide, so that way you won't have any trouble reloading that magazine in there. And I don't know if I just broke a YouTube rule. But a very nice flared out magwell on that little 9mm. And if you're looking at the 300 Blackout, same exact design, but just bigger for your AR-15 300 Blackout magazine. Now I want to mention a couple little details on this lower receiver that I'm really liking. And to a lot of you, you might not really tell a difference. It's just another AR-15 or a 9mm PCC receiver set, so why should I even consider buying one of these? But there are a couple design differences between these and other AR-15s. So if you're looking at this 9mm here, you can see a little indentation cut out here. Now when I'm reloading my magazines and I kind of fumble it and I grab it up way too high, just like that, and I'm inserting the magazine in, if it was a magwell that was kind of flush and it didn't have that curvature there, when I'm inserting that magazine, my thumb might smack that lower portion there. And I'm liking the fact that that's cut out, so that way if I do kind of dig that reload up, it's not going to smack that magwell there. Now, is that a huge deal? No, but it's a small little detail that I appreciate. And on the 300 Blackout, you do have that cut out as well. Now another subtle detail is this little cut that you have here right on the end of the trigger guard. And that is basically to have an indexing point for your finger to rest on if you needed to take it off the trigger. It's just nice that they are paying attention to those small details. And to add on to these small details, a lot of people won't notice this part until they're actually pulling apart their AR-15s and stuff like that. So now if you're looking at an AR-15, they are pretty much all designed differently in terms of the upper, lower, and the hand guards. But what I want to point out here is something that kind of sets Richmond apart from other AR-15 brands. And again, there's so many out there that there might be a little bit better fitting. But if you're looking at that one there, when your AR-15 kind of folds over just like that, this part here where your barrel lugs are, or your screws that kind of tighten up the barrel there, that piece hits the mag well on the front, and that's just going to bang on that guy every time I open it. Again, not a huge issue. Now, if you're looking at the Richmond Tactical, they machined it specifically so that way when you're folding it open, it's going to fit nice and perfect in that little pocket that you see at the front of the mag wheel there. And that goes for all of their models. I'll show you with the 300 Blackout here. So when you're right there, that it lays perfectly flat onto that lower receiver. This 300 Blackout even sits a little bit more flush and perfectly fitting into that pocket there. And again, guys, this isn't going to make a huge difference on performance. It's just something, if you like to pay for nice things and you're paying a premium price, you want to get that premium feel, right? So they're giving you a lot of little tiny details, little subtle details that aren't going to really make a huge difference, but it's nice to know that when you're paying for something of quality, that they're putting that quality thought into the rifle or pistol itself. So kudos to Richmond Tactical for not just throwing a bunch of random shit together and selling it. They're actually putting thought into their designs and stuff like that. And I know, guys, they're slapping a bunch of other parts that they don't even make in there, like the barrel, the bolt carrier, the charging handle, and all that stuff. But when you get a company that's starting off from the ground up, they're going to do everything as cost effective as they can. And once they start getting that popularity, they're going to start making those parts themselves. Now, I didn't mention the stock on here. This is a Mission First Tactical, just standard stock. The buffer tube, castle nut, and the back plate are all mil-spec style parts. And inside here you just have a normal buffer and spring inside of there. And on the 300 Blackout, obviously you have your compliant sock on the back of that guy. So if you're going to pick up a pistol from Richmond, definitely ask them for your compliant sock and see what they can do for you. And I didn't mention in the beginning of the video, guys, but this one here is called the Chile pequin, the small pepper. So I really like that name. I just like when a company, like I said in the beginning, doesn't take it too serious, but they're also being serious at the same time in terms of their quality that they're pumping out. And this one here, if you guys could guess, but this is called the chupacabra. They also make this in a shorter barrel version for the 9mm, and they also have different calibers for their rifles and pistols. So they do have 5.56, and they also have 7.62 by 39, I believe. So, and then for the 9mm, so far they're only using Colt magazines. I asked if they're going to make a Glock mag version, and I'm guessing if enough people ask for a Glock mag version, they will come out with one. Now, last but not least, what was the reliability on these two? So on the 300 Blackout, unfortunately, I did not have enough ammo to do my initial 500 round testing, but I did get about 250 rounds through this guy. No problems whatsoever. That thing ran beautifully. I am definitely going to get a lot more rounds through this guy. I'm probably going to just go straight up to 1,000 rounds and give you guys a 1,000 round update, so I'm not wasting your time going halfway and then halfway again. I'm going to go for a full 1,000 round update on this one. And on this 9mm, unfortunately, within the first 100 rounds or so, I was having some extraction issues. So after the first 100 rounds, every time I shot, I'd get a brass case stuck inside, and I would kind of have to just take out the mag and try to rack that brass out. Right there. It's doing that every single shot now. After those 100 rounds, I wasn't going to sit around and try to shoot the full 500 rounds that I brought out to shoot out of this guy. So I just brought it back home and called Richmond Tactical and said, hey, I'm having this issue. And he pretty much pointed out that on the inside here, there's this ejector right here that he said that sometimes the 9mm, they have to be slightly bent a little bit so that way it could eject the brass reliably. That's one of the main things that I think that they should focus on, the 9mm, is to make that ejector more reliable, meaning maybe make the material a little bit harder, the hardness, and so that way it doesn't bend on you so easily. When I was shooting those first 100 rounds, it probably just bent straight from the cycling of the bolt, or the brass just hitting that ejector over and over again to where it just bent straight again. And when I bent it back just a slight, tiny bit, it was fully reliable for the rest of the 400 rounds that I brought out. That's why you're going to see two different outfits that I'm in. So one outfit I went out to shoot the 100 rounds, and the next outfit I was in my jacket and stuff in a different location. So that was 2 separate days to shoot this guy. And yeah, that's basically the only thing that I want to point out on this guy, that I did have issues with that ejector. So if you do have one of these, or if you're planning on getting one, I would just pay attention to that and make sure that you're not having issues with that piece there. But as of now, within the 400 rounds that I shot after that, those were completely reliable. I want to try to take this out past 1,000 rounds, maybe 1,200, 1,300 rounds, just to get that full reliability aspect out of it, so that way I know just if that bend did anything. But yeah, just ejector problems on this guy. Let's get that thing fixed, and you're gonna have a solid little gun here. Aside from that, it shot extremely well. It was super accurate, and the speed on this thing is nuts. I was able to, I don't know if I was bump firing it or just from it being direct blowback, but I was on this thing so fast, and my split time were super quick on this guy. So the speed is what I really loved about this 9mm here. So other than that, guys, my initial impressions on the two are that Richmond is doing some nice things. They're making some nice receivers, and they're putting some great parts into them. This one here, the 300 Blackout, is running around $2,400, which might be a little bit up there in price, and on the 9mm is $1,900. But again, they are not skimping on the parts that they are putting in here. And obviously here with the compliant sock, it's definitely going to add a little bit more of a price, because this sock is a little bit more expensive than the stock that you have here. But overall, I can't really give too much of a reliability recommendation on these two, just because I haven't shot enough through them. I just wanted to get a video out for you guys to show you guys something cool before I actually do the, let's say, 1,000 round update, right? But so far, this one ran great for 200 something rounds, or 300 rounds or so. And this one did have issues, like I pointed out earlier, that I'm hoping to just get behind and keep shooting it, or talk to Richmond and see if they would kind of update that ejector there. But go ahead and check Richmond Tactical out, guys. Great people, great names when it comes to their firearms, and overall a pleasure to work with. Thank you guys for tuning into this video. I appreciate you all. Catch you in the next one.